This video is going to walk you through how to make a great bulletin board for your hall. The first thing you should do is measure how big your bulletin board is. The size varies by hall, so you should measure out the height and width of your board and make a note of it. Once you have decided what topic you want your board to cover, you can use Google Docs or PowerPoint to type out your content. All of the content on your board should be appropriate and your message should be clear just by glancing at the board for a few moments. You should also use a large text size so your content is legible from a distance. A general rule of thumb is to use a font size of at least 20 or more. At this point, you should decide on a title for your board. Once you know what the title is going to be, you can use a website to quickly calculate the frequency of letters in it. For example, 3 A's, 2 C's, etc. You should write this down somewhere because you'll need this information to cut out your title later. Now it's time to go to the center. Located in Warfield 210, you'll find everything you need to make your board. You can cut out letters and shapes, get your background paper, and print things out. All of the paper is stored in these cabinets, and the die cuts are on the wall next to them. There are 4 different fonts you can use to cut out the title for your board. You should be able to cut out about 4 letters using 1 piece of paper. So, to cut out a title that is 21 letters, we will need to use 6 sheets of paper. I'm going to use the paper slicer to cut my 6 pieces of paper into 4 squares, so I end up with 24 squares. Looking at my list, I see the first thing I need to cut out is 2 A's. To use the die cut machine, place the block face up on the tray with 2 squares of paper sitting evenly on top. Then push the tray through the machine while cranking the handle at the same time. When it comes out on the other side, you are left with your 2 A's. Now just repeat this process with the rest of the letters in the title. You can also use the die cut machine to cut out any other items you want to use on your board. However, if you try to cut more than 3 or 4 pieces of paper at the same time, the machine may not cut all the way through, so only do a few at a time. This cabinet is where you will find larger die cuts like those you can use to cut out a border. I recommend cutting your paper in half lengthwise first. Then, when you put it through the die cut machine, you'll be left with 2 equal-sized pieces of border. When you're done, make sure you pick up all your scraps and toss them in the recycling. All of the rolls of large butcher block paper can be found on this wall. Since you already measured your board, you should know about how much paper you need to cover the background. To get a clean cut, unroll the paper to the size you want, hold it taut, and then swiftly rip it. Lay your paper on the floor and fold over the edge to start rolling it up. And if a roll of paper is empty, tell your supervisor. Don't change it yourself. You can also print out the content for your board at the center. Log in on a desktop and follow the instructions posted on the board above the computers. The printer is located in the central office to the left. You can only print in black and white, but you can use colored paper. Just remember to remove any extra from the tray when you're done. Now it's finally time to put up your bulletin board. You've worked hard so far, so take the time to make it look neat. First, staple on your background paper. Once you've stapled it to the top, then you can cut the bottom so there's just a small gap in between the edge of the paper and the board. Then just staple on your border to cover up the gap. The next step is to put up the title. To make sure it's centered, count the letters in each line and figure out which should be in the center and put that one up first. And then you can staple the rest of the letters up. Now all that's left to do is finish putting up the rest of the content on your board. And that's it. You've made a great bulletin board. This video only showed you the basics, but there are so many more fun and creative things you can do with your board. Here are some examples of real boards made by Miami RAs that were recognized for going above and beyond. And if you feel like you're lacking inspiration, you can find tons of ideas by searching on Pinterest. And lastly, just talk to your supervisor if you need more advice.